Hi, I come from a land where caste system used to be a societal norm. Believed to have been originated some 2,000 years ago, people under this system were categorized depending upon their occupation. Over time, it became hereditary, and one was born into an unalterable social class. Of course, caste system in India has been clearly spelt out, but what I see is that people world over are subject to a self-inflicted caste system. Let me give you a hypothetical example. There are two families. One is a very affluent family with a lineage in politics. The second is a middle-class family. The first is something like the Kennedy family of US or the Gandhi family of India. Children in these families are brought up with the belief that they're going to grow up and be world leaders, that they're not meant for ordinary things, they're going to do extraordinary things. Whereas children in middle-class families grew up with the belief that they have to work very hard in school, get a college degree, work for a good company, and feel pride in doing just that. What is happening here? I think parents pass on their conditioning without any kind of filtering, and often surrounding forces reinforce that kind of conditioning. Let me give you another example. There's a small child who touches a hot iron and withdraws immediately. That is also conditioning, but self-conditioning that he must retain in order to prevent injury. Now, the same child is told by his mother, cats are evil creatures, you should stay away from them, they are dangerous, bad for health, steal your luck away. And every time this child tries to pet a cat, he's hit. And he grows up conditioned to stay away from cats. Until one day he realizes that cats are not so bad after all. Half the world loves their cats, hugs them, kisses them, and misses their cats. So conditioning does not have a negative connotation. It's when rigid conditions are created that limit human perspective that they have a limiting impact. So this is how conditioning occurs on a personal level. But societies get conditioned. That's societal conditioning. Let me share with you a parable. So there's a cage with 5 monkeys. From the top of the cage hangs a banana, and below it is a ladder. The first monkey goes to the ladder, attempts to get the banana, and everyone's sprayed with ice-cold water. Then a second monkey goes to the ladder, tries to attempt, and they're all sprayed with ice-cold water again. And then the third goes to get the banana. Soon, the other monkeys are going to prevent anyone from trying to get that banana. Then the ice-cold water is put away. And one of the old monkeys is replaced with a new monkey. This new monkey sees the banana, drools, goes to the ladder, and to his amazement, is beaten up by all the other monkeys. Then another old monkey is put outside, and a new monkey is put in. He sees the banana, goes to the ladder, and gets beaten up again. And the previous newcomer participates in this beating up with a lot of enthusiasm. He doesn't know why he's doing it. And then a third monkey is replaced, and the fourth and the fifth. All monkeys would have been replaced. None of the new monkeys would have ever been sprayed with cold water, but they won't know why they're not going to that ladder or why they're beating each other up. You ask why? Because that's how it's always been, and that's how it's going to be. Soon, this banana will be the forbidden banana. Of course, if it doesn't rot, that is. But now imagine if one of these monkeys manages to get that banana while all the others are asleep. When they wake up, this monkey will be the hero who would have achieved something no one in that cage had ever achieved before. And he will open a new space of possibility. This is exactly how our societies function. Over generations, we keep repeating old patterns without even questioning their relevance, and thus limiting ourselves from creating new possibilities. When someone tries to do something different, which no one has ever done before, or tries to change the order of society, he is faced with resistance. Change is perceived by the mind as death. Death of a certain way of thinking and operating. And from childhood, we've been conditioned to fear death. So when anything new comes about, the reaction of most people is akin to someone having pointed a gun at them. Defense. And we've seen throughout history, great men have had to face resistance for their ideas. But if they had blocked their minds with all that resistance, we wouldn't have had some of the most amazing inventions we have today. So if one can keep their mind open despite difficult conditions, I say that's the key to creativity. Creativity is definitely not for a certain kind of people or for the elite or for smart and intelligent people. We've already heard it in Javier's talk. It's so mundane. But in order to be creative, I feel it's important to be in an open space. Now, what is an open space? A space where one feels secure physically, emotionally, and mentally. One can open spaces for themselves, or you can have an external facilitator to do it. It's a space where ideas flow in all directions from all directions without being nipped in the bud for not fitting certain standards or molds. So if you were to open a space for yourself, you need to check 3 things. Do you feel emotionally stable? Do you feel physically secure? Do you feel open mentally? And if all the 3 of them have been ticked, then any space you are in is an open space. Let me share with you how we open spaces at our educational program called My India Empowered back home in Mumbai. So it's a program where there are no teachers or students. Learning flows in all directions. We learn, unlearn, and relearn together. One of the places where our program runs is a small village called Tumnipada in the Sanjay Gandhi National Forest of Mumbai. So in this village, there was a schoolhouse which was damaged by monsoons last year. So we decided to build another bamboo schoolhouse for them. This is when the schoolhouse broke down last year, and we spoke to the community and asked them to come together and participate in building of the schoolhouse. So the men and women participated in building this new structure. What was amazing was that we did not tell the kids to join us in the process. They had been observing for a few days, and they just joined in. These are kids as young as 3 years old and as old as 15, all working together, picking up gravel from the bed of the stream and laying rocks in the foundation. They were doing it all, just as the adults were doing. And it was a beautiful sight to see. I think it was only possible because these kids had not been conditioned to believe that they needed to be a certain age or needed to have certain skills to do this. And they participated with their hearts completely into the process. If you just see the video, it might look like child labor, but they were actually enjoying doing what they were doing, you know? And that's how the schoolhouse was built in flat 14 days without the use of a single electrical equipment or professional labor. Let me share another story with you. So we have themes every month. One of the themes we had in March was creativity. And these children were put into teams and were given 2 pieces of cloth, a few newspapers, 6 safety pins, a few hairpins, and a scissor in each group. They were given 45 minutes and told that you have to prepare a garment, pick a model from your group who will wear that and walk the carpet. And after 45 minutes, this is what they had created. I believe that this was possible once again because there weren't any restrictions that were placed on them. They've had no tailoring experience. Most of them don't even have televisions at home. So they're not in tune with trends of Hollywood, Bollywood, or even Tollywood for that matter. And they were allowed to express their creativity given a safe environment, so they created something so beautiful. I can't even imagine that with newspaper and some random pieces of cloth, garments like these could be made. The next month, the theme was entrepreneurship. They were put into teams of 5 again. And the challenge was called the 50 rupee challenge. They were given 50 rupees. It's almost equivalent to $1 and a few cents. It's peanuts even back home. And the challenge was they had to multiply 50 rupees in 24 hours and use their skills, talent, creativity, innovation, and do it. So first we were wondering, will they be able to do it? Will they not be able to do it? Because I had done it at undergrad level in my college, and we found it so difficult. But then the team came to a consensus, said, okay, what's the harm? Let's just let them try it, And they went out there. One of the teams, what they did was they spent 10 rupees, bought a chart paper which said brain challenge. They positioned themselves outside a local college, and the deal was this. To play the game, which was a set of 10 questions, someone had to pay 10 rupees. If they answered 8 correctly, they would get 20 rupees back. And if they didn't, then the team would have made 10 rupees. So doing this, they got enough capital to start the next venture. They went and bought Tang and a few disposable glasses. Then they looked out and they found a street vendor who was selling vada pav. It looks like a burger. It's really famous in Mumbai. I'm drooling right now. It's amazing. Okay, so they found this guy and they asked him, can you give us some space on your stall? We want to sell Tang. So he said, why should I let you do that? They said, we will go to your customers and serve them hot vada pavs in the car, and also try selling our Tang because it goes with your vada pav. It's going to be an awesome combination. So your customers get customer service. We get to sell our Tang, and we'll collect the money for you and give it to you. What say? He said, okay, and he agreed. By the end of the day, they had made 650 rupees. That was 13 times the amount of capital that was given to them all by themselves. I thought it was truly inspirational. These kids felt a sense of joy and accomplishment after having done that. So what they made really didn't matter as much as how they did. Going out there, talking to customers, thinking of ideas, doing something they've never even done before or thought of doing before, and doing it with such ease was remarkable. I think all of this was only possible because they had a safe environment in which they could express themselves. So what is it that, you might think that we should not stop our kids from doing anything. Then what if a mishap occurs? What if they do something and play with danger? At MIE, that is our organization back home, if a child is playing with danger, or if he is doing something that will injure him or injure someone else, what we do is we very firmly explain to the child that, what you're doing is not wrong, is not right, and then quickly bring back a smile. So it's almost like, Rohan, you shouldn't have done that. You could have really hurt yourself. So the child doesn't get conditioned against the person or the incident. He gets conditioned against danger. So therefore, he doesn't form any kind of complexes or phobias, because what normally happens is when a situation goes wrong, we're like, what? And that child is so scared and will remember that for so many more years to come. But that's not something we want to create here. So we're very careful about what we do and how we condition the child. Because I believe that nothing should happen by force. The sun does not force the moon to go away. The soil allows the plants to take nutrients very easily. The birds migrate when they feel like. I feel that everyone who comes in my life appears for a reason, has something to offer, I can learn something if I'm aware. I'm constantly on the lookout because there could be a challenge or actually an opportunity which is disguised as a challenge. Let me tell you a story. This is from 2007 when I was in my 11th grade. I had just joined the debate team, and I was sent for my first intercollegiate debate competition. And guess what? We came first. But the best speaker award was given to one of my friends, Vishwanath. And I was like, if I come back next year, I really want to win this. I'm going to really, really work hard and get this best speaker award when I come back. 2008, same competition, round 1. We're put into a room with a lot of scientific equipments, big names, and we have 1 minute, and then we have to step out and write as many names as we could remember. We're just quickly writing, and then we realize that the results are announced, and we have been eliminated. And I was so disappointed because I had dreamt of getting this trophy for 1 whole year, come back, worked so hard, worked on my memory, worked on my debate skills, and we've been eliminated. Okay. I went back into the audience, sat there, watched the semifinals. I was almost like my world had crumbled down. I'm sitting out there, I wish, oh my God. Finals, oh shit, what to do now? But there was a part of me that didn't believe it. It felt like, no, I could still get that trophy. And sitting out there, I started thinking. I went to the college authorities and I said, sir, I have an idea. Why don't you introduce something called the open challenge round? It's going to be so exciting for the audience to see an open challenge. So a team from the audience can actually challenge the winning team, and if they're up to it, we can see an exciting battle. And he said, hold it, woman, let me go check. I said, okay, fine, and I'm waiting there. He comes back in 5 minutes, and he says, your idea has been accepted, and this year onwards, we're going to have the open challenge round. I ran into the audience, said, the round is open? Okay, sir, me, I want an open challenge. And I'm like, come on, guys, let's go. And I told my team, we went up on stage. I remember that the topic was euthanasia, and we were asked to speak against it. The debate went well, fairly well, and it was now time for the results. So the judges went up, and they were like, the best speaker award goes to, and when I heard my name, I was like, oh my God, have I got this award? Wow! I just couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. Felt like I got the Oscar award, you know. And then, I'm here. I stand before you with a belief that life is a natural flow. If you keep your mind open, your bulb will glow. Thank you.
When I hear your story about the MIE students, and I think back to what Ahmed mentioned about the 7-year-olds he met that asked Ahmed, do we have permission to draw and to play? And I asked myself, why such contrasting situations? And does wealth actually hinder creativity? We saw from Barb Campbell about how in the US, the expenditure per pupil has been continuously increasing, but our achievement is actually stagnating. So do you think that the extreme hardship within which the MIE students live, might that actually contribute to their creativity?
I think it's not the hardship that's contributing. It's actually the fact that they have no fear of any sort. So if it's a toy which is worth $1,000, or it's a machine that they have, if they're going to break it and then go back home and get slapped by their parents, they have something to worry about. But if they're playing with bricks and mud and with sand and anything they pick up from the garbage, they have nothing to worry about. And anything they build is going to be creative. So I think it's just the fact that their minds are so open, not limited by anything. They don't have standards to follow. They don't have anything to worry about, because even if they break those things, they can build it again. It's as simple as that.
Once again, I draw a link to Ahmed's talk, because sometimes people think, isn't it great that we in a rich country are serving and benefiting the poor kids? But I think we have a lot to learn from people in extreme environments. Because as I just said, their frame of reference is so extreme that they don't have the fears that we do. Because they've seen so much more dire poverty, so much more extreme survival situations. So they have less to fear. Also brings to mind the immigrant syndrome, how immigrants in large part power much of Silicon Valley, because where they come from, life is so much more difficult. So I think we have a lot to learn from people that we think will actually be benefiting. And maybe they're benefiting us more than vice versa.
I think that happens because there's a culture called the jugaad culture back home, where, so if we here, or I don't know, actually in big cities also, you need like a budget if you're doing a project. But there, even if we have no budget, we create things without a budget. So it's almost like if there's no sofa and you have to have a rendezvous with someone, they'll get 2 tires, put them here, 2 tires, put them here, and sofas will be ready. Painted tires, and they look beautiful. So that culture of building things out of nothing is actually benefiting a lot, because innovation and creativity are just booming. So sometimes it's nice to not have money, because that way you have more to explore. Because money sometimes restricts creativity. Because you're like, oh, I need at least $500 for this. But what if you don't have money? And if you can still achieve it, that's actually pushing the boundaries and trying something new. And the accomplishment you feel after doing that is just amazing. I've done it.
The story you tell about the students and turning 40 rupees into 13 times more. That has been done by the Stanford Business School many years, and their achievements are no more impressive than your young children at MIE. Yet the Stanford business students learn business strategy in a formal way, but your students seem to intuitively have that ability. They seem to be able to show empathy, asking themselves, how can I create a win-win situation? Since they have nothing more to offer than an opportunity for someone else to get rich. So they're asking themselves, how can I help this stall keeper sell more things? At the same time, I benefit along with them. So they seem to have intuitively learned that, which other students perhaps are learning explicitly in a formal setting in a business school. But once again, young people have a lot to offer this world. Sometimes by simply not driving those qualities out of them, we'll be doing our world a service. Full disclosure, I went to actually see the MIE school about a year ago with my son Javier, and I was struck by their entrepreneurship and their strength of will. I quite candidly, when I came back, I thought about how our young people are developing, and I kept telling my wife, the recurring phrase that kept going through my head after I came back from a trip to visit Ritika at the MIE school was, the US is toast. Estamos fritos, means we're in deep yogurt unless we change the way we develop our young people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.